What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to quickly discuss some things that went wrong for the Chicago Bulls in this game against the Phoenix Suns. Now, yes, I did make a game reaction, but a lot of that game reaction I was talking about the referee calls and stuff of that nature. And as much as I still think that's a big problem, kind of over discussing the referee calls and stuff of that nature, I feel like it is important to really dissect the Bulls and the things that went wrong in that game for them. And unfortunately, we can't blame the refs for everything. At the end of the day, we did concede a 20-plus point lead. And at some point, we have to start looking at ourselves apart from blaming other people. Yes, I feel like in this specific game, you can blame the refs. That's fine. Blame the refs if you like. But also, you have to look at yourselves. You have to look at the internal. You have to look at what went wrong for the Chicago Bulls to allow Phoenix to have a complete 180 and transform their game to a victory, which has happened twice with the Golden State Warriors and the Chicago Bulls. Two massive problems for this Bulls team as we seem to can't keep a lead in the second half. So let's discuss that in this video. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe the Bulls have a big problem in terms of keeping big leads. Now, we have to reiterate, this is not the first time, this is not the second time that the Bulls ended up having a bad second half that cost us a game. In fact, I would like to say the majority of our losses are based on really poor second half performances. Very similar to last year. If you guys remember last year for the Chicago Bulls, I wouldn't necessarily say every single second half we played was horrible, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty of the game, the fourth quarter time, where it's time to really step up or step aside, the Bulls lost a lot of close games due to poor fourth quarter performances. Now, I'm not necessarily saying it's the exact same thing as we're seeing this season. I think instead of a bad fourth quarter, we're seeing a bad half in general. And that is something that we need to find a way to overcome as a Bulls team. So this is not a new problem. I think that's the first thing we need to reiterate. This didn't just happen against the Phoenix Suns. This didn't just happen against the Golden State Warriors. A problem like this has been happening for years. And we need to figure out what the problem is with that. So, first and foremost, or actually no, secondly now, we need to discuss the mentality of this team. Because I think it is bright as day. The energy of the game from the first half to the second half was completely, different. The first half, yes, we have to put some credit to the Phoenix Suns for not showing up in the first half, but the Bulls were vibrant, the Bulls were moving, the Bulls were energized, the Bulls were switching and scrambling and trying to find a way to close out to the shooters. We're not letting anybody breathe on the offensive end, maybe except for Kevin Durant because he had such a bad first half. We actually let him open a couple of times, but in the end, it was just a night and day performance. Yes, I know our three-point shooting was falling in the first half as well, and that is a massive difference from the second half. I mean, if you look at our first half and you look at our second half three-point shooting percentage-wise, it is awful. And the fact that Phoenix, by the end of the game, had a better, I believe, it could be very similar, but a better, I believe, three-point shooting percentage than the Bulls in its entirety speaks everything to how the second half went for Phoenix. But nonetheless, the energy of the game was completely different. And I feel like this is a big thing for the Chicago Bulls for a while. The energy of a game. Where, if you could have fooled me, if I was a casual fan, watching this game, watching the Bulls playing the Phoenix Suns, and I didn't know any better, I would assume that the Bulls were on the second night of a back-to-back and not the Phoenix Suns. We've got to keep in mind, Phoenix did a heck of a thing here. They came back, and they came back on the second night of a back-to-back. That second half did not reflect a team that was tired or that had sore legs or lacked energy or anything in between. It felt like the Bulls were on the second night of a back-to-back. That is an energy issue, ladies and gentlemen. And I definitely felt the energy of this team shrink in the third quarter and specifically in the fourth quarter. We had to rely on some Kobe White clutch isolation shots, by the way, to be able to get us back on track and actually get us close towards competing in this game. We can't forget these things. So yes, the energy of the team was a big problem for the Chicago Bulls. How can we find a way to translate our energy from the first half to the second half? That to me is a coaching problem, and that is not an answer I feel like I can give as a Bulls fan. Because I don't know these guys ins and outs. I don't train with these guys every single day. I don't coach these guys. energy, in my opinion, is something that needs to be brought up from one person and can be carried over into the next. It's a contagious feeling. It's a contagious thing that goes through an entire team. So why do we keep on struggling with, of course, the energy side of things? I think Billy Donovan needs to find a way to get that energy out of these players, and these players need to realize this is a problem and make it an emphasis to actually try to focus on improving your energy in second halves. I don't really know, but surely the Bulls know this is an issue. This is not something that I've just come off the top of my head. They should surely know the second half energy was completely lifeless up until the late parts of the fourth quarter when we actually lost the lead. So that's one thing. But number two, we're going to talk about the mentality. I mean, first and foremost, we must admit that Andre Drummond, when he committed the foul on Eubanks, kind of set the tempo of how Phoenix were going to make their comeback. Through energy, through the loudness of the crowd, through just basic basketball, and through Kevin Durant taking over the game, right? We can't really complain about Kevin Durant taking over the game. Yeah, we could have maybe contested him better. We could have maybe stopped him. But Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. I've said this for the last 3 years. Kevin Durant is not going to be a guy you can stop. You only hope to contain him. The only person that's going to stop Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. It's as simple as that. He's the only guy that can stop himself from having a good game. But with other factors of that game, I think we could have done a little bit of a better job mentality-wise. For example, we went absolutely cold. Ice cold. So cold to the point where I thought it was winter in Australia and not summer. That's how cold it was for the Chicago Bulls in the beginning of the fourth quarter. It was like they were back in Chicago with how cold the weather is. That's what it felt like watching that fourth quarter. We could not make a shot for the first couple of minutes of that quarter, and that obviously led to Phoenix slowly but surely coming back into the game and eventually taking the lead. We couldn't buy a bucket, and I'm not even going to go on a limb here and say Phoenix were the most amazing defensive team out there. We got open shots. We got shots that most of the time you'd be comfortable with, but we didn't make them. You can't, again, Vucevic missing a jump hook, a very easy one. What are you supposed to do about that? That's not a coaching issue. It's not necessarily a player issue. That's a player missing a shot, and there's nothing you could do about that. Post hooks that are so wide open because Eubanks isn't the best defender. What more can you do about that? You just have to simply move on to the next play. But at the end of the day, when those shots start to pile up and you see open shots consistently missed, it's a mentality issue, I think. I kind of feel that the Bulls felt Phoenix coming for them, attacking them, not giving up on them. You're seeing a team that has belief in them. And as more and more and more belief entered the Phoenix Suns system, entered the Phoenix Suns, I guess, mindset, the less and less and less self-belief actually came from the Chicago Bulls side of things. And we lost belief in the fact that we could actually maintain and manage that game. And I do, obviously, unfortunately, have to give a lot of blame for this for some of the young guys as well. Now, again, some people will blame DeMar DeRozan for this, but I feel like DeMar DeRozan has been very much proven that he's a very good fourth quarter player and he brings self-belief everywhere he goes. But some of the young guys are not accustomed to winning games in fourth quarters. We can give examples. Obviously, Kobe White is learning what it's like to be in the fourth quarter and execute. And I think he's doing a good job as an individual. But, of course, as a team, we are still falling. When you got guys like Patrick Williams out there, guys like Ayo out there, even guys like Caruso, who's not, who's been more responsible and getting bigger roles and opportunities for the Chicago Bulls. You get to see all these things, right? But at the end of the day, what does it lead to? It leads to sometimes, in no certain moments, not necessarily delivering. And I do think that is obviously something we need to, hopefully, with more time and experience, we can overcome. But better coaching as well, I think, has to be in play. I mean, that entire third quarter run, where Phoenix brought it to single digits, was there a timeout called by Billy Donovan? No. But how many timeouts were called in the second quarter? 3. 3 timeouts called in the second quarter, but when the Phoenix Suns were on the biggest run they could possibly be on, how many timeouts were called? None. Zip. Lock it up. Throw it away. No timeouts were called. No challenges were made. There was nothing by Billy Donovan. And this is why people get on his back so often. The lack of adjustments and the lack of timeouts to stop momentum from swinging. I feel like he likes to let them ride. And unfortunately, a team with no self-belief and Billy Donovan letting them ride is a disaster. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. Do the Bulls lack self-belief? Is there more problems going wrong in the fourth? Let me know what you think. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.